The COVID-19 pandemic is likely to change our way of life, particularly in cities. As urban areas around the world emerge from lockdown, how will city planners enforce social distancing while allowing the mobility that binds cities together? From as far back as the Athens Plague in 430 BC, which changed the tide of battle in Athens' war against Sparta, to London's cholera outbreak in the 1850s, pandemics have always left their mark on societies. This is Victoria Embankment. Completed in 1870, it's a promenade that runs for 1.25 miles along the River Thames and is one of London's most popular landmarks. It was built not as an attraction, but to save lives through a new modern sewage system to prevent future cholera outbreaks. Fast forward 150 years, and this time the focus for cities is not better sewage systems, but ways to maintain social distancing. During a pandemic, social distancing on public transport is impractical, while reverting to the use of cars will only add to the pollution and heavily congested roads in cities. So, what other solutions are there?
We think that millions more people can cycle in London.
Will Norman is London's Walking and Cycling Commissioner. It's his job to encourage people to walk and cycle in the city by creating safe cycle lanes and widening pavements and sidewalks.
We're seeing bike shops selling out of bikes. We're seeing queues around the corner to get bikes repaired. There's a massive potential here, but that will only be realised if we make the streets safe. That involves three things. That is, first of all, protected bike lanes on main roads. We've got wider pavement, because if you're crammed into narrow little spaces, then people aren't going to be able to socially distance. And the third piece is low traffic neighbourhoods. That's where we've got kids playing out in the street, we've got kids cycling. Now those three aspects will enable more people to walk and more people to cycle.
Transport for London, the transport authority for the city, has already built more than 100 miles of cycleway routes with plans to expand the network further. So as urban planners reclaim the roads for cycle highways, are there signs it's working?
What we saw was a lot of people at home. We were experiencing a warm spring. There was transport restrictions. People were bored, and it became this almost panic to buy bicycles and alternative modes of transport.
Analog Motion is a London-based company that makes electric bikes.
It doesn't look like this trend is going to decrease anytime soon. If anything, it will continue into next year as well.
It must be exciting as well to see TfL take such a leading role in trying to encourage cycling in the city.
There's a mental barrier to entry. Cycling in London, because it's seen as kind of dangerous and a bit scary. Anything that kind of boosts people's confidence, like separated cycle lanes, is really encouraging and will have really positive effects on the number of cyclists you'll see on the road.
But it's not just the bicycle and e-bicycle businesses that are booming. The aim to reduce the number of passengers on public transport has opened the door for micro-mobility vehicles to fill the gap and provide different ways for people to travel. Micro-mobility vehicles are small and usually run on electricity, such as electric scooters and electric skateboards. Despite the popularity of these forms of transport, many major cities around the world have banned them or imposed laws governing their usage. In the UK, the pandemic has accelerated plans to capitalise on the growing industry. The global electric scooter market size was recently valued at $20 billion and is estimated to be worth $42 billion by 2030. The number of shared e-scooters worldwide is expected to rise from 774,000 in 2019 to 4.6 million by 2024. One of the world's leading e-scooter sharing companies is California-based Bird.
I do think there's always an adoption period when you're the new kid on the block. It stands out, so people have a lot of questions. What we've seen is, the scooters go similar speed as someone on a bicycle, and it's actually a similar width as a bicycle. So it actually fits quite neatly into the bike lane infrastructure if cities have bike lanes. So cities that we've seen have a lot of micromobility lanes already, there we've seen the adoption go much quicker.
Recently, the company shut down its entire Middle East operation and destroyed between 8,000 and 10,000 e-scooters.
We had a merger and acquired a company there. Anytime you merge two companies, there's a lot of things to figure out.
Is it specific on the region whether e-scooters and e-scooter sharing work?
No, I think I'm personally very excited about the region, and I think there's a lot of, I've spoken with a lot of city managers there, and they too want to make their cities more efficient and less dependent on cars.
Voi, a Swedish e-scooter sharing startup and one of Bird's leading competitors, has plans to make the UK one of its leading markets. They even hired Bird's former UK chief, Richard Corbett, to head up their operations in the region.
I think we are in a transitionary period now where we're going from no micromobility in the city landscape to this huge growth of micromobility.
Do you think that Londoners themselves are crying out for e-scooters?
Yes, London needs to get moving. We are in London more over-reliant on public transport than any other city in the UK, purely because we have such a great public transport system. In this environment post-COVID where we need to maintain social distancing, this over-reliance on public transport has pushed for a greater need than normal to have services like Voi operational in the city.
A lot of people are talking about e-scooters, micro-mobility. Are TfL seriously considering putting in place plans to accommodate that?
So I think the main thrust is the walking and cycling, but you're right, there are new technologies and new options out there. The last thing I want these e-scooters to be all over the pavement. We as a city and cities across the UK need the power to regulate and to be able to cap the numbers of the scooters. So let's have a look at what role they can play in the city, but let's make sure that's done safely and it works for everybody.
With more than half the world's population living in cities, urban mobility has to evolve in response to climate and health concerns. It's the job of urban planners, business leaders and entrepreneurs to drive that change with the help of new technology and ensure cities bounce back better than before. Hi guys, thanks for watching our video. We'd love to know what the urban mobility is like in your city. Comment below the video to let us know and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.